I'd like to introduce to you your second panel. To my direct right, the beautiful Shauna Jensen. Sydney-born singer and performer. She's been in the music business for over 40 years. She's a legend of the Sydney music scene, singing in pubs in the 60s and 70s. She's moved through house music. You did. You sang in pubs.
I did.
You did. You did. And she's also a house music diva. Please welcome Shauna Jensen.
Thank you.
Directly to her right, Gayle Austin, a founding member of the underground station Double J.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, this is big. Gayle and her colleagues set the template for the national FM station Triple J. With over 28,000 broadcasting hours behind her, she continues to work in the academic and community radio arenas. She also launched my career in radio and was the biggest mentor I've ever had in my musical career. So thank you, Gayle. Zoe Badwi, right next to Gayle. If you have not danced to Release Me or Free Fallin', I have no idea what you have been doing. Release Me spent 7 consecutive weeks on the ARIA #1 spot, and she continued her success with triple platinum selling Free Fallin'. The highlight of her career was, of course, playing at Mardi Gras After Party.
Yeah.
No, the Mardi Gras After Party in front of 30,000 partygoers, and I think I saw her in the green room afterwards. Next to her, we have the wonderful, wonderful, and welcome home Jackie Loeb. Multi-talented woman, actor, vocalist, musician, voiceover artist, and writer.
An embellisher on resume.
And really, I was reading your resume today. I was like, damn, that girl has done a lot since she moved to California. Yeah. It has been said, what is it? The LA Female, did you write this too? LA Female Playwrights Initiative states, this woman has so much talent, it's sick. Yeah? Did you write that?
That was a legitimate one.
That's a legitimate one.
So what is there another quote there?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it for you. Please welcome Jackie Loeb. And on my far, far right, DJ Sveta. She is one... She is... Go on. She is one of the music and production world's most diverse and original talents. From the fiercest nightclubs, from New York to Sydney, all over the place. She's been giving it to audiences from behind the decks. For almost 2 decades. She is homegrown DJ royalty, DJ Sveta. I kind of wanted to start this panel off quite this similarly to the last one because I think it's a good kind of grounding point for everybody, is basically wanting to know from you what you think is the most powerful piece of music that has like inspired you in your lives. It's a starting point, whether it was when you were like a little tiny person, if it was a moment in your career that a piece of music affected you. What was it, if you can? I know it's like saying, what's your top 10? I can only come up with 20. Yeah. So putting you on the spot for one, but, you know, taking it.
Well, for me, my gene pool is made up of singers, and so it was a really, really natural thing for me to do. And the first song that I ever sang in public on television when I was 7 years old was on some television show, and it was A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. And I remember on this television show they said to me, now just walk through those doors. It was like this whole setup, and it was walk through those magic doors and sing the song. And I walked through those magic doors and I haven't stopped fucking singing. So, I mean, that was quite pivotal for me.
Gayle.
I think maybe the most powerful piece of music that has affected me was when my partner died. She had leukemia and she was a musician, Mopsy Beans. And we nursed her and she was in hospital and she had a stroke, and then she was in sort of like a coma for 3 days, and it was like she was struggling to let go, and it was terrifying for her. And one night after she'd been unconscious for about 3 days, she was in that horrible stage of breathing where it's like that. And I put on her favourite violin concerto. And I noticed that she calmed down and she listened to the violin concerto right through to the very end, because she would have killed me if I stopped it halfway through because she was a musician. And then at the very end of the violin concerto, she gave 3 very peaceful breaths and she was gone. And it was the most beautiful moment I have ever shared with anyone. And I just looked at her and I said, Mops, that's the most beautiful fucking thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Wow. I knew I was going to cry at some point during this whole thing because, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Gayle.
Brooks Violin Concerto.
Which was it?
Brooks Violin Concerto. And she was able to release herself into her music.
And isn't that interesting? Music does it. It releases us. It brings us together. It holds us together. It kind of does everything in a way, doesn't it? At different times.
Yes.
Zoe.
Oh, great.
I know, yeah, I know.
Awesome. Next. Yeah, so
Yeah,
mine feels a
I know.
little self-indulgent now, but good story. You really got me. And now I just feel like a selfish person. But anyway, my story is just about a stupid ex-boyfriend. And he, in my mind, got ripped apart by a shark attack at the beach, limb by limb. But there's... sorry if that's happened to anybody. You never know. There's always one, but that happened to him. R.I.P. Scott. But he, not to take anything away because that was beautiful. Mine is more about, it's more moose tea and an eye a day. I don't know, you guys all know an eye a day.
Yeah.
But she sings full on like deep house and like that sort of stuff. But she sings this broken down song with Moose T and it's called By Myself, and it just moved me like nothing else. And it's all about, you know, when people are just at you 24/7 and they want to break you and criticise you and they make you walk around on bended knees. That's what the words are. And I was like, yeah, I've been there, and who hasn't? But you can just fight your way out of that and just don't break me down because I'll come back swinging and fighting and in your face. That's what that song's really about.
Love it.
Nothing quite like that, but next.
But it's a great thing, though, like because all the experiences of music speak to the heart.
Everyone's got their own bit.
Everybody, yeah.
And I wouldn't want that piece, but...
What else? What other songs? I love... I learned the truth at 17. I think any woman that didn't look
Janisine.
like Janisine,
Oh my gosh.
another lovely, fantastic middle-aged lesbian. It was okay to write songs a little bit more morose and they could still be popular tunes but still resonate and think, oh, it's quite cool to be ugly. So I quite like that song.
It's a good song. It's a good song. Sveta.
I like many songs, but one I can really remember identifying with quite early on was when I was about 11 and I first came to... It was in the early years of when I first came to Australia, and it was in the middle of the Cold War, still at that time, and not in the middle of it, towards the end of it. And I was a bullied little kid in Australia, and I didn't have any friends, so I would lock myself in my room and listen to Culture Club, and I would sing along to Victims. I remember recording myself one time because I was so passionate about the song and I used to identify with it. And then I remember the rude shock of hearing my own voice, how awful it was, how much it didn't sound like Boy George's. That was actually even more terrifying. But yeah, that was it. That was it.
Thank you. Now I want to stick with you, Sveta, about music, and you have had your independent, your experiences with big songs. I want to ask you, as a DJ, how is it, do you think, that as the DJ culture has brought people together? What's been the
I think the powerful element of that is that it can literally bring people from across classes and ages and races together, and it's more of a tribal thing. So what they might have in common is the style of music, that they relate to the style of the music that you play. So I've had a really rich career because I like a lot of different styles of music. So when I play at a leather event and you play sort of like tribal music that's very just rhythmic, very few vocals, it's like it's a really enjoyable thing to sort of get lost in that journey, that tribal journey. Sometimes it's nice to play a commercial set and everyone knows the words and there's joy to be had from, you know, everyone singing along and enjoying things together. Just music is just, I think it's the one place where you can make people happy. Like, it's so undervalued in our culture, especially in Australia. It's much more valued, I think, in Europe and, you know, in other countries. But, you know, we look up to people who create war or, you know, play sports, but it's actually music that can really make people happy, I think.
Yeah, Gayle, you and I, we were up in the toilet, Gayle and I, and we were talking about, you mentioned about how music and the shamanic principle. Could you just elaborate a little bit on that, what we were talking about in the toilet? I know it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
I've got a radio program called Curved Radio, and I got in touch with a group of women who decided that women weren't represented in the electronic field around the world, and so they decided they'd network and they'd start to spread the word about electronic music and share and promote each other. And one of them I had on air and I was talking to her about it, saying, well, what is it about the beats and the repetition and everything? And she said, electronic music of today is like the shaman. It's like the trance that you go into. And that was the first time that I actually started to really understand electronic music, because she saw herself as a shaman when she was playing the electronic music.
And in your world, being in radio, how do you think it is that radio brings people together? I'm still an avid radio listener. I don't know who else is out here. But you have live music, or we have, you know, DJs and electronic dance music. With radio, be it digital or traditional, how does that touch people's heart and soul?
I think music's such a personal thing, and radio is, it goes to here and it goes to here, and you can do what you want, and the radio can be what you want, and the person on the radio can be who you want it to be, and it's such an intimate form. It's in your bathroom, it's in your bedroom, and you can be you. You're not dictated to. You're not stuck in front of a box that you have to watch all the time while you're doing it. You can do your washing, you can do whatever you want to do. You can be you, and you can have that intimate, close, personal contact there. You can sing with it, you can talk to it.
Do you think in some ways maybe it's a bit more intimate?
I think radio is the most intimate form there is, and that's why I think it still lives. And there will always be a place for radio.
Thank God for Carl Sandemans.
Yeah, definitely. So Shauna, you've been, you know, a diva in the gay community.
Diva.
Don't even say you're not a diva. What,
I'm a diva.
No, I'm not a diva. For real, seriously.
I know, right? Yes.
What you've seen, I've seen a lot of time in the gay community, and so have you. And how have you seen it evolve? How has it changed? From, we used to be quite a bit more underground than what we are now.
I think that the evolution of the transition of commercial songs into dance music. I remember sitting in George Ash. George Ash is the head of Festival Music Festival. Universal. Thank you, Nathan. George Ash is the head of Universal Music, and it was when I was involved in the TV show Pop Stars, and I was the vocal coach at the time, and we would go every week to have a meeting with this guy George. I didn't know who he was, and I was saying, you know, you need to be doing dance mixes. You need to be, you need to be making these commercial songs, dance music. He said, there's no future in dance music. And I was like, I said, you need to get out more, mate, because there are people, there are hundreds and hundreds of people in clubs every week where I'm going and singing and they're dancing to this music and it is going to evolve, that pop music is going to evolve into the dance spectrum, which is what, Zoe is doing now. And you don't have to just ooh every time I say her word, right? Zoe, right? Zoe.
I'll work for this.
And anyway, and George Ash told me I was an idiot. And I left the meeting and I said to my colleague, who is that guy? And he goes, he's the head of Universal Music. And I said, well, he's a fuckwit. Because he doesn't realise what's happening, and that has been a big thing that I have observed that has happened, not only with dance music, but with country music as well. I mean, I've been in nightclubs when they're playing "Well, Wake Me Up When It's All Over," and and it's like, what? I know, right? But people love it.
I do.
But people love it, and it's because that is the power of music. And you might hate it, but 95,000 people love it, and that's the power of music. Is that it is evolutionary in every sense, in every genre. And there is change all the time. And I mean, I started off singing in bars when there was no electronic music, when you recorded music using a tape. And people would actually you would play instruments and record onto a tape, and if you made a mistake, some guy would come along with a razor blade and tape it together, and it was unbelievable. And you had to sing every chorus. You didn't just sing one chorus and then wait, right, and we'd just cut and paste, cut, paste, cut, paste. And that was where the soul of music was. It was soulful. And now I listen to some music today and I just go, oh fuck, really? Come on, where's the? It's like manufactured music, and having said that, I make my living singing with digital music all the time, and singing with backing tracks a lot of the time. But I do miss the organicness of it. But there is that change that's happened. It's the evolution of music. It's what's happened. We live in a digital world. We live in a world where there is multimedia, and that's just the way that it is. And so you got to go with it, even if you're 20 or you're 60. You got to go with it.
Well, you say that, but that's even when I first started with, like, the first song, Release Me, when I started that was the first song I wrote. And I remember I wrote it and they said, we're not sure where this will fit. So they sat on that for 2 years and didn't release it.
So that was 2007?
So it was 2008 it got released, but I wrote it in 2006. And I wrote it with the TV Rock Boys, which is Grant Smiley and Ivan Goff, and they just didn't know where to put it. It's like, radio's never going to play this. We're never going to get anywhere with it. Or maybe we'll just release it as Zoe Badwi, not as TV Rock, and we'll see what happens. That way there's no expectations on. I was like, sweet, it's fine. I wrote it anyway, so I'm good with that. Yeah. And look how that turned out. Quite well.
Right.
But nobody would play it on radio. Nobody would play it anywhere, and they worked and worked. And what happened was that it just organically worked because nobody forced it and nobody was pushing it on TV shows or whatever, and just that way it worked its way all around the world by sort of being underground, and it hasn't exhausted me for that reason. And I don't know.
It will be the song that will not die for you.
Well, hopefully.
And
a girl's got to eat.
Well, that's right.
I've got a quirky little...
But that's the thing, really, isn't it? It's about you create that piece of music. It's like my first dance music piece I created in 1999, and it's still being re-released and re-recorded, and people don't know what to do with it. And that's exactly the same thing. And this was about 2006 when I was talking with George Ash, who was just like, there's no future in dance music.
Oh, really?
So there you go, yeah.
I've got a quirky little story about dance music and community radio.
Bring it on.
I got into this because I was doing a communications degree at Macquarie University, and I was sort of focusing on television and film production, and I joined the then biggest community radio station, 2SER, and I ended up having my own show for 12 years on Friday mornings. And I remember I joined in 1990, and I had the Friday morning show, and at that time I was a club kid going to the Horden parties, experiencing dance music for the first time, experiencing ecstasy for the first time. And
It was great, isn't it? It was great. I loved it.
I started playing dance music. I started playing dance music on Friday mornings. And I remember the reaction of the station was really, they were really confronted, because at that time, the only time you could hear any dance music anywhere was on a station like 2SER in the afternoon with Nick Fish or someone like that. And they were outraged. They wanted to remove me from Friday mornings. But then they did the first subscription drive, and I had 5 times the amount of pledges than anyone else. And then they changed their policy to have dance music across the morning. So, because they were trying so hard to be Triple J, and they, were scared to have their own voice. I'm pretty sure I was one of the first people to play dance music in the morning.
I think you were. Yeah.
How do you?
Not anymore. That's all changed. So Zoe, I want to ask you. Hello, darling.
Hi.
I want to ask you. So
Hey.
you have been recognized and adopted by the gay community. And I guess for
I'll be
me,
your biological mother, young lady.
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan after soundcheck. You just wait.
You just wait. I have a theory of my own, that because Sydney has such amazingly rich house music pedigree, like much richer than many places around the world.
Yeah.
And you've been adopted by a pretty high strain of homo. We've got a thing going on with music. And how has that been for you? To have the songs and to know that this community just loves your music.
Oh, thank goodness, because you guys are the funnest to play for. I swear that you go to, say, a straight club and everyone's just too cool. They're all there to be looked at, and they don't even dance. It's a shoulder, just one shoulder. It's not even 2, because that's too much. But when I play at gigs with you, everybody, it's just, you're there for the music. You just want to be fed music. You want to hear it, you want to feel it, you want to dance it. And that's what I do. Like whenever I'm singing or whenever I'm dancing, I just want to feel it. I don't care about the coolness factor. Who cares? It's all about just having a good time. That's what I think. And just feeling what it is that everybody feels, but saying it in a different way. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is, but all I know is I have a good time, and I'm just saying what I want to say and putting it out there. And if anybody comes along for the ride, then come on board.
They love you because you're fucking cute and you can sing like a motherfucker.
She busts it
That's
out.
why they love you.
How about we get you to
And
bust?
I like you.
Can you sing like a motherfucker right now?
All right, let's do
get her
this.
microphone.
Woo!
Zoe Badwi, y'all.
Okay, so you want to know why I want to sing this song? Isn't that what it is about? So this is the first song that I ever really wrote properly, all on my own. Yeah, good on me. But the deal is that I was in a life where I didn't really want to be, and I wanted something else, but I'm not really good with my words, in case you hadn't noticed. I'd rather sing it. Don't look at me. I'd rather sing it and pretend that maybe you don't know that I've written this. Because none of your beeswax what my personal business is, but if I sing it, I feel like that it's okay. And that's all that it comes down to. So this is where Release Me comes from. If anybody wants to shimmy. Let me go, don't wanna be alone, and let the music pump right through me. I can feel it in my bones. Got to get up to get it on out, and let the rhythm take a hold. Watch me shake it on out. Release me and set me free. Let the fire burn in me. I said release me.
Zoe Badwi. Pretty good stuff.
Cheers! Cheers, everybody!
Cheers! My mother would, I've just used 2 swear words in my emceeing.
you?
My mother would be horrified. I'm so glad she's not here. Jackie, I want to throw to you now because you use music, but you're kind of multi-instrumentalist.
I am. I'm quite gifted, yes.
Yeah, quite gifted.
I'm overcompensating for feeling completely out of my league on the panel. Look, I wanted to be, I still haven't given up my dream of being a pop star. I want to be a pop star, and I'm trying to find creative ways to make that happen and yes, I am a 42-year-old woman and perhaps I believe I can, yes. So I try and find quirky ways where I can make my music accessible and find my niche. Like I've got my new song, Middle-Aged Woman on a Treadmill, which I feel has got huge potential.
Are we going to hear that later, maybe?
No, not tonight. That's the downloadable one, that one. And then I've got another, like a ballad about my underactive thyroid, and I feel that that's also got potential audience too. But like I started off as a musician, that's what I just wanted to perform when I started, finished school and worked at Elders Rose Bay, how can I help you? And thought, okay, this isn't for me. So I actually just wanted to perform, and I actually been playing guitar since I was about 10, and I got this gig with a jazz agency. Jazz booking agency, playing at the Flinders Street pub, playing jazz every Sunday, and I didn't know from what jazz was. What do I know? And so I'm singing, I think this is jazz. Don't it make my brown eyes blue? I think that's jazz. Apparently it's not.
Apparently not. No.
I had that gig for about 2 consecutive weekends, and the booking agency went bust. But I found a way to kind of interject humour in between the songs, and that became my focus. But I've never, ever lost my passion for music. I love music, and I remember the girls talking about, Shauna talking about the cassettes, having my little Tascam recording studio and ping-ponging the sounds and managing to get like 24 tracks on 4 tracks, and it all sounding like shit. But it was fun. And music for me is such an amazing outlet. It's like where you don't need the immediacy that you have with stand-up comedy, because I'm a very, very successful stand-up comedian. And I'm not. No, but you don't need the audience's approval. Like, it doesn't matter. I can be at home and I can be strumming my guitar and I can be singing I Learnt the Truth at 17. I got to find a new favourite song. And I can be singing and strumming at home, and that it's so fulfilling and enriching and therapeutic. And sometimes it gives me that pleasure and outlet that I don't get from comedy, because comedy for me is, there has to be a result, there's an outcome, and that's to entertain people. But with music, with music it can be about you, it can be more self-indulgent, it can be about getting in touch with your emotions, and I think that's what I'm really digging at the moment. Music fucking rocks, it's cool.
It does.
It does.
It definitely does.
Music. I love music. I love swearing too.
Yeah, clearly the whole panel does. I might need a glass of wine. That's the interesting thing about music. It really kind of covers all the bases, in my opinion. And Gayle, you're working currently on a program for Curved Radio, and it's using the internet and music to tell the story of the plight of refugees. And I was wondering if you could just fill us in a little bit about that. Oh, wow. Awesome.
I'll have some of that too. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
I know. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Beautiful.
Okay, Curved Radio started as I wanted to see if you could have an international audience that cut across all age groups, all prejudices, all religions. And could you speak to an international audience as you do speak to one person or a local person? Is the global local? And so I set up Curved Radio as a platform for independent artists around the world to exchange music and cultural experiences. And one of the rules was that the artists weren't allowed to play their own music. They had to play other artists' music. So they had to go out and find other artists' music. And it started to spread. We've now got over 20 contributors from around the world. One of the contributors is Gasanji Revere, who's the ambassador for the Congo. She grew up in the Congo and she's now based in Paris, and she's an amazing artist. She does a lot of work for charity. She does a lot of work for disadvantaged children. Another person who tuned into Curved Radio going home from uni from his PhD was Arda Sir, who's from just outside of Istanbul, and he gets Sufi music for us and plays Sufi music for us on the radio. So it started to spread and it started to bring people together. And there was a guy I met in Paris who works for Radio France, and he's also a filmmaker. And he came to me and suggested that the big problem of the 21st century is the plight of the refugee. There are millions and millions and millions of people who have no homes, no anything. They've been displaced by climate change. They've been displaced by conflict. It's just incredible, and it's growing. It's just, I don't know. This year we had 700,000 more people displaced than we had in 1994 when the Rwandan genocide was on and Yugoslavia fell apart, and it's just terrible. So what Simon is now doing is he's now going into refugee camps in Europe and he's recording the song of refugees. Just children singing the song of their homelands. And it is so, so powerful. And with that, he's also got poets from around the world, really famous poets who are contributing a poem that will go with the song of the refugee. And he's putting them into capsules for me. And we're planning on having 52 voices of the refugee to be played every week for 1 year internationally around the world to please recognise that this is the biggest problem that the world is going to have. The plight of the homeless people, the plight of the people who have no roof over their head, no food, no... so this is in partnership with Curved Radio. Now, this is the power of music. This started just with, okay, let's have a universal language. Let's not have partisan politics. Let's not have religion. Let's just play music and speak to each other because that speaks across language. That's what it started with, and it's inspiring people all over the world to contribute. This tiny little radio station on SER, it's a midnight to dawn program. I mean, it's unbelievable, the power of what music can do and the power of using the media to bring people together rather than to flog product or to sell advertising, to get famous, to become celebrities. That's not what it's about. We have a media and we can use it to talk to each other, to bring each other together and to let people know about what is going on.
And Gayle, that's been a driving force of your life, is knowing. I mean, what you taught me so long ago was that sitting down and speaking and playing music, it communicated so much more than sometimes people who call themselves the communicators, the politicians and all that kind of stuff. It kind of becomes a buzz in our ears, whereas music can never really become a buzz in our ears because it speaks to our hearts.
Well, it's also music, and I think radio is, when it really works, when it really is magic, it's a dialogue. It's a dialogue between the music and the people on air and you, the listeners. It's like, I studied a philosopher called Bakhtin in university when I went to university after I left radio to find out what the fuck happened during all those years when I worked at Triple J when everything was so fast and it just... it was just we did it all on the run. So I went to uni to find out what happened and I discovered this guy called Bakhtin. And he was about the dialogue. And the dialogue, it's not me and it's not you, it's not what I say or what you think, it's what comes out of that conversation. And that, for me, is the magic of radio. It's about what you get from the music, what's going on in your head, and what comes out of the both of us. It's a partnership.
Thank you. And I want to stick with you just for one more second because I'm going to branch this out to everybody else. How important is it for women to have a voice in the creative process? Is it women in the creative process, do we bring something different to the table that is not necessarily on the commercial wavelength? Or does that cut across gender?
I would like to see the day when we don't talk about men or women. I think we talk about people.
Excellent.
And we need to be represented, absolutely. but I would like us to stop thinking in those terms.
Excellent.
We're people. And also, we need to support more women to be 50% of the people instead of just 5%.
Absolutely.
Shauna.
Well, you know, Madonna said music makes the people come together. And music does make the people come together. And it doesn't matter what style of music that you like. It doesn't matter whether it's classical music or country music or pop music or deep house or hard house or whatever the genre of music that you like. What music does is music resonates within a part of our psyche. It resonates in our spirit. And to me, that resonation is my connection to that spirit. It's connection to God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it. To me, that's what it is. And when I am in my Dharma, which means when I'm doing what I do, which is what you do, when you do, and you do, and you do, and you do, what we do as performers is our job is to bring happiness and to touch you and to reach out and touch you in a way that makes you think. And it might make you think about happiness, it might make you think about something sad, it might make you melancholy. There are times when I can't sing because I'm so sad. I'm so fucking sad that I can't sing because my heart is breaking and it is really fucking hard. It's not like putting your hands on an instrument. It's not a tangible thing and it comes from your spirit. And it's a really, really hard thing. And that is the power of music, is that music, whether it be a lyric or one note, has the power to reach into your heart and pull it in some way and provide you joy or, you know, whatever. And sometimes when I used to sing with my daughter, I couldn't do it because I just get all emotional, you know, and it's very, very hard. And people break your heart and you still have to go on stage and you have to sing. And it's not like putting a record on or a CD, and I don't mean to disrespect any of you up here on this panel who are DJs, or disrespect anybody who's playing an instrument. But when you have to sing, you're a storyteller, and that's what we do. We tell a story, and our job is to reach out and touch you and make you feel, and that's what we do. And sometimes
with your voice,
and sometimes it's really fucking hard. And you know, I'm in a very deep state of mourning at the moment, and even just talking about it is very, very difficult, and you just have to do it. So Dr. Showbiz kind of takes over, and you do it, and that's the power of music. That's all I got to say.
So, talking about music touching you, about a year before my partner died, my mum had a stroke, and my mum was incredibly, incredibly charismatic. And the stroke affected the part of her brain that made meaning. It was like the motor part of her brain. So the words that went in made no sense. We took her to rehab and we learned how to speak again. We rechanneled the meaning into another part of her brain. She learned how to speak like that. Okay, it was so basic. My mum was also a famous cook. One day the people came to her and said, "Sally, we're going to take you to the kitchen tomorrow and you're going to learn how to cook again." She went, "Okay," and the person went out and she looked at me and she said, "What's kitchen?" That's how difficult it was for her. Eventually, she was able to function. She was able to do sort of like one message at a time, was able to go into the brain. She was able to process it and she was able to give it back. But when we took her home, people treated her like an idiot because they'd go blah, 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 and it'd become white noise to her and they'd think, "Oh no, she's an idiot, she doesn't understand." But there was part of her that did understand, and she was incredibly, it made her incredibly, incredibly sad and felt incredibly, incredibly useless because she could understand, she just couldn't get it out quickly enough. Anyway, one day, this is where she was with words. One day I was driving her to Young to see the speech therapist, and I put on some music, and we're driving along, and I looked over at Mum, and she had the most beautiful smile on her face. And she was sitting there and she was tapping to the music and humming to the music. So she didn't get the words, but there was something much, much deeper in her that knew that music and could follow that music, and it gave her pleasure. It gave her a feeling of belonging, a feeling of being useful, a feeling of being part of the world.
Can I just say something just a little bit foreign to that? That was so beautiful. I recently watched a documentary about dementia, and there was a guy who sat in a chair like this, and he just had nothing. He had nothing. And brought some headphones, and they put music onto him. It was Cab Calloway, and he knew exactly what that meant. And music, that is the power of music. Music can find its way through craziness and dementia, and it can bring it because it touches your spirit. That's what it does.
Venture a guess. Is it that tribal unconsciousness? Is it the part that makes us all exactly the same? Yes. That it's so deeply seated? Is that what it is? Does anybody venture a guess?
Music is like a soft, fluffy, protective cloud. Like I know because when I perform and I'm incorporating the comedy or the stand-up and then the music, if a joke I'm doing is like dying in its ass, I'm like, oh my God, I've got my salvation, I've got my music. They mightn't connect with the joke or the humour, they mightn't be relating to it, but I'll sing a song and at least I'll get their attention, and at least if nothing else they'll find some value in something musical that I'm doing. I might be strumming a C chord for 12 minutes, trying to buy time till my gig's finished. But for me, music is like sometimes a C augmented or a C7, and then I extend that to about 36 minutes. But it's like my saving grace sometimes. It's like, oh my God, music, my friend, you're here to help me get through this horrible fucking show. And yeah. And it's always interesting, like sometimes when I come off stage and I'm doing a comedy gig and people say, oh my gosh, you've got a lovely voice. And I get really upset. I get upset with them because I think they haven't connected to my comedy.
They weren't paying attention.
No. But then when I do a music gig and people say, oh, you're funny, I want to punch them because I haven't connected with the music. So it's a lose-lose situation. And that's how I feel. And that music is, it can be very healing as it can be healing, it can, all those words, like, for example, like Sheena East, this is going to sound ridiculous, but this is coming from a place of truth. Sheena Easton's My Baby Takes the Morning Train. There's the first bar that goes do, 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 do.
Great drums.
Before she's even started singing, and it just lifts your mood. It just lifts your mood. She doesn't have to say anything. And I remember I used to make this commute to studying. I would drive from Sydney to Penrith every single morning, and I would play that intro over on a cassette, back in the days of cassette. I've still got a cassette player in my car, I'm doing so well. But I just drive... But I would just rewind that bit over and over again, like for about 2.5 hours. This is pre what's it called, the M4 days. So it can be very healing.
So I only just upgraded to a CD player in my car, so congratulations. So tell us, Jackie, tell us what is it like? Is LA a whole lot different from Sydney? Do tell.
No, it's full of Australians. It's exactly the same. And it actually... Look, it seems to be very youth-orientated. It doesn't... I mean, maybe I don't know the right venues to go to, but it's either the upper echelon where you've got the really, like, prestigious jazz clubs where you've got people like Gladys Knight, people like... And then you've got the more... I haven't quite found that happy medium. You've got, like, the really, really kind of Viper room, kind of rock star rooms where people are ODing. I don't get into those venues because of my open toes. But... But I haven't found that middle of the road kind of music. Like, I love, like, soft rock from the 1970s. Like, I actually did a gig. I'm name dropping here. I am about to name drop. I had a gig at a casino in San Diego and I saw a poster. The next night, Air Supply were playing. And unbelievable that they were sharing the same venue as me. And that's what I like. And I haven't quite found... contemporary, I can't believe it's not Air Supply music in the LA.
No, not yet.
Did that answer a question remotely?
No, I
I'm
don't
not
think
quite
so.
sure.
I don't think so, but it was fun. It was fun.
I think, I think
And
this.
that's the point,
I think in terms of performance, I think there's a real.
What was the question?
Yeah, I can't even remember the question.
Like music and art, I guess there's a real. I think there's a real honesty with the people that I perform with in Australia, whether it be comedy. So. So I think people here in Australia are a little bit more earthy and the cliche, more down to earth about what they do, more humble about what they do. Just that sense of honesty and the self-deprecation that we do in our comedy and our music too, I think.
Australians love self-deprecation, don't
Americans
they?
don't know what it is.
Americans, no.
What do you mean,
No,
you
what do you
suck?
mean?
I don't
Yeah.
understand. Why would you say that about yourself?
I know. That's so not. Anyways, Sveta, what has that been? You've done a lot of traveling. You've done a lot of parties in the States and around. And what's been your experience about comparatively to Australia and performance and in your arena?
Well, I think that the first time I travelled and the second time I travelled some years later, I realised how much talent we had in our own country. I think we really undermine ourselves. Like the first time I travelled through the US and Europe, I couldn't believe how many of the people that I had looked up to and whose records, whose records that they produced, they played, couldn't mix two songs together. And the sort of generation that Kate and I come from, there was a lot of emphasis on skill. There was a small group of people who were incredibly passionate, and we all had to be like perfect mixers and like pretty dedicated. Like it's a little bit of a tricky thing calling ourselves DJs now, because the skills that people are coming into the profession with now are completely different to the skills that we had. And there are machines now, applications that anyone can download for free, and you can press sync and it'll mix two records together and they can get their music for free on the internet. Like in Kate and my time, and we had to spend years learning the craft. Every song we bought on a record cost us $20, and if we wanted to find a rare record, we had to go to America or Europe and lug those records back. That was the only way we could distinguish ourselves. And then we'd play King's Cross on a Saturday night at 4 o'clock in the morning, dragging 40 kilos of records, breaking our back. So it's tricky because it's not quite the same skill. So when you do finally go overseas and you look up to all these people and you realise that you look so down on yourself in being in Australia that your skills are right up there. And it was a really wonderful thing to go back to New York in 2006, and I just came into a time when everyone there was feeling a bit too cool for school and no one was mixing, but they had great music selection. So what I did was I just did what I did here in Australia, and I played the music that I love, and I like taking people on a journey with my music, and I mixed it and it made a really big impact. And actually they embraced me right away. I actually find the over especially in the States, if they think that you're one of them, they quickly allow you into their arms. So I've had a very fortunate experience with especially the US. I've gone back every year since and can actually play very authentically. Because I think the greater landscape, actually, it's an interesting time. There's so much music available. It's free, practically, because no one wants to buy it anymore. Yet there's fewer and fewer things that pop out that is anything but bland. Really, like electronic dance music, or EDM as they call it. If they kind of did a little clip cut up that went for a minute, taking the first 4 bars of the top Beatport, which is where everyone buys dance music, the top 100, and it basically sounded like one note going all the way through. And very, very recently, some French researchers studied current pop music of this decade and compared it to the previous decades, and there's the least difference between the tonality, the key changes, like everything that went through music in this generation. So it's interesting when there's such a huge abundance of music coming in from, everyone can release music, which is awesome and liberating. And, I do remixes, everyone, Kate's done them, anyone can do it, but so little good music gets the light of day. I don't understand.
So true. Shauna,
Yeah.
what would your thoughts be on that?
I just think that what you were saying about going overseas and then you see... You get there and you have this expectation, oh, fuck, it's going to be just absolutely incredible. And you get there and you go, oh, hang on a minute, it's better actually in Australia. And the thing is that the live music scene here, I remember going to Good Vibrations a couple of years ago and seeing all these people that they'd imported, these acts that they did, like Aloe Black and various people that they'd imported into Australia to come and play at this festival. And I remember walking in there and going, oh, yeah, this guy's really good. And then just going, what? Like, what? And why are Australian bands not playing there? Why are these Australian bands not playing there? And Carmen would agree, it is the standard of Australian music, because we've been so isolated. We grew up listening to blues music. We didn't realise we were listening to blues music, but we were listening to blues music because we were listening to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, who were ripping off everybody, all the black artists. We didn't know that's what we were listening to, and we loved it, and the Animals. And we grew up with the White Australia policy. So we didn't get a lot of black music, but we got the white music that had influenced the black music. So it's a different thing here, and we've had lots of live music, lots and lots and lots of live music venues. Not so much anymore, thanks poker machines. But we have, and so we have a great pool of talent here. And when you go overseas and you see the talent, and you walk into New York bar and you think, oh my God, this band's going to be so fantastic, and then you go, actually, that band that I saw at DYRSL last week was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And so you bitches should get out there and support live music more. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
What I would say is
Bring
really...
another glass of red wine.
And I mean bitches in the nicest possible way, of course.
What I would say that's a really amazing positive thing is, I have no idea why I like some of the music that I like. It's inexplicable. When I was a kid, I got into this style of music called New York Bitch House. In 1992, I have no idea what I related to in it, but I liked black gay drag queens bitching at each other, basically calling each other cunt in the music. And I have been playing that.
Those were the days.
Yeah,
huh?
and I've been playing that.
No.
I have literally been playing that
Push her
music
down
ever
the
since.
stairs.
And that music has now become popular again. It was popular in 92, and now it's come around, and they call it that Vogue ball music. It's like the hottest music, underground music in the world. And I don't know how it is that the New York audience, who are the authentic audience for that, that's where all those tracks got made. I've found myself in venues with all the original producers that made that music, playing it to them, to putting my own twist and having them see it as completely authentic. They can always tell that it's not something I've adopted now.
Yeah.
And to have African American gay men dance to your sets, it doesn't matter that you're a woman or you're from Australia or
It crosses across.
It crosses across, and that's an incredibly emotional feeling for me. And it's the one thing I disagree with a little bit with Shauna, because I think a singing voice is definitely a powerful thing, but there's also lots of crap singers.
I might butt in there as well.
But I'm not against what you said, but there's also the same thing with DJs. There's people who can craft an emotion, and there's people who want to be popular or famous. Or
True that. The festivals you were talking about, when you're saying that they get all these American people, I've played at festivals here in Australia like Stereosonic and all those, and you know what? I'll give you the red hot tip. They don't book any Australian... You laugh at me? No. Go on then. No. They don't book any Australian acts until the very end, because what they do is they get all the American acts and all the big ones, and then at the end they fill the gaps with everybody else from Australia, which I find highly offensive because we've done quite well, us Aussies, and we've been signed all over the world and we perform everywhere, but it's kind of like even the people that book us are the people who are our friends, who've grown up in everything that we're talking about, but yet they're still scared to take a risk. Or it's not even a risk, it's just supporting what everybody knows. And I mean, we go out and play and you can fill the rooms and people are loving it, but they get scared because they think if they bring an Aloe Black or a David Guetta or whatever.
I can give you an insight on what they do with DJs. Like the reason why you never see people like us play anymore is because they now book local talent last, but it's the up-and-coming kids, and basically the deal is they get to be on the bill, they basically don't get paid, they have to sell a minimum of 150 tickets, they have to be like a ticket outlet to their friends, and they get the glory of being part of a major like festival lineup. That's what's happening with the DJs in the festivals.
Oh.
I think that's happening across.
I was wondering why I wasn't getting any gigs. Now I figured it out. Thanks. No, it's just a joke there. So, Gayle, I want to, because you've been involved in music and, you know, Double J, and you know music. So, what is that? What would be your advice, or what's the answer to, you know, to people who just when you look at a situation and you're not going to get employed for a big festival? What would your advice be? If Zoe's, you know, what she's saying about, you know, the festivals that Australians get booked last.
Back me up here.
How do we, you know, how as Australian artists in the musical world, whether that be electric dance, you know, electronic dance music or voice, how does that change? How can that be changed?
Well, now you do it yourself. You make your own festivals. You get your own things happening. And you have your own outlets in the internet to promote it. You get a crowdsourcing campaign happening and you do it yourself. And stuff the others and the people will come to your gig. And,
Excellent. I would like to now ask, even though I nearly died when she did her little comedy sketch, I'd like Jackie to come up and do some comedy for us, or whatever she's going to do.
Say that now.
Zoe, you need to keep yourself controlled because you're laughing way too much.
I don't really want to be a
afraid.
biological mother. It's fine. She's all right. Now, I just want to say, we're talking about music, and keeping with the theme of music, I went to see Pink. No, she's fucking sucks. I tell you, no, she doesn't. I tell you why I don't like Pink, because she has raised the bar. She has raised the bar. Like, you cannot, as a vocalist, you cannot just go out and sing a song anymore. Like, you have to be suspended in midair, like hanging upside down, dripped in like organic Manuka honey with endangered polar bears hanging off your nipples. Like, she's raised the bar. So that's why I've decided to do like an Australian Pink tribute show called Beige. And yeah, here's some of Beige's songs. I hope you enjoy them. So this is Beige, and it's just targeted at like middle-aged women like myself. Here we go. This used to be a fun house, but now it's full of Tupperware. That's that one, and this beautiful one. I'm off to bed, so please wrap up this party now. Come on, it's 9 o'clock. And this beautiful, beautiful showstopper, it truly is. Please excuse my back. And apparently leopard skin prints back in the States, so I'm wearing this. Made a wrong turn, I did, once or twice. Dug my way out, blood and fire. Bad decisions, that's alright. Welcome to my silly life. Mistreated, misplaced, misunderstood. Miss, no way, it's all good. It didn't slow me down. Mistaken, always second guessing, underestimating. Look, I'm still around. I'm still around. Pretty, pretty, please, don't you ever, ever feel like you're less than perfect. Pretty, pretty, please, if you There's more. Me. Not yet. More. There's a bit more. There's a little bit more coming up for beige. For beige, there's something else that happens. It's all right. Just do that. It doesn't work. Oh, it's a shame. I'll think of I'll do a bit bigger ending to compensate, because I do this dance as beige and I do this. But anyway, I'll just do another big ending. You are something to everybody. To no. Me, that's it. Me. Thank you so much.
Jackie Loeb.
I gotta say, hey, what's going on? I got heaps to say. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, at soundcheck, I didn't even know she was a comedian before I heard her soundcheck. I was like, sweet Lord, this girl is good. I hope I'm singing before her or it's gonna get really awkward.
I love it.
Hilarious.
So I want to head towards, because being entertainers, there's always highs and lows. And just to get a little bit serious here for a minute. Been in a career, which, I mean, a career that lasts for a number of years. I've been DJing for over 20 years. Shauna, how do you get through the highs and the lows, the moments of absolute adoration, and then when someone tells you they hate your music? Where do you find, because I think that's something that's really, it's very personal music.
It is. And you have to come to, I think that people that are a lot younger than me, and let's face it, probably everybody in this room is a lot younger than me. I'm like 1,000 tomorrow, I'm turning. Soon. Shut up. No, what happens is that you have like this incredible, clusterfuck through your life of fantastic things that happen. And I've been so blessed to work with incredible people. I've, been on stage with Jimmy Barnes in front of, tens of thousands of people, and he's shared the stage with me. And I've sung on the Opera House steps. I've done 5 Mardi Gras shows at 2:00 in the morning in the RHI. I've done Harbour Party shows. I've done lots and lots of things. I've sang at the opening ceremony of the Gay Games, which was a really big highlight. And then I've sung at the Imperial Hotel to 5 people.
Oh my God.
And so you have to, and I just take on the persona that I go, okay, I'm the bar singer tonight. And the thing is that not everybody is going to like what we do. Not everybody is going to like what we do. And you cannot please everybody. So you have to come to this conclusion that, people will come up to you and they will never come up to you and say, well, very rarely do they come up to you and say, you were really shit. But sometimes they do. And when they do, you have to say, well, thank you so much. What did you think about? Why did you think it was so shit? Why didn't it resonate with you? And they will generally then say, because you didn't sing Wrecking Ball or you didn't do whatever. Sveta and I have decided that we're going to do a Wrecking Ball photo shoot. All the women on the Women Say Something should do a Wrecking Ball. But, not everybody is going to like you. And I always say this, and I say this to my students as well, that for every 3 people that are out there, I might be doing a show in the RHI. There's 10,000 people in there, and it's like a highlight of my career. There's one person who says, that show was fucking amazing. There's another person who says, I hated it. And there's another person who says, what show? That's what happens, and so you can't please everybody. What you have to do is you have to please yourself, and you have to be happy with what you do. And it's the nights, I don't know about you guys, but it's the nights that I find that I think that was the biggest load of shit that ever came out of my mouth, that I get the most compliments. And the night when I think, oh, fuck, I was so good tonight, I don't get any. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I am really shit
Gayle,
on those
what do you
nights.
think about that in the arts? Handling criticism in the arts.
I just think you have to be true to yourself. You just have to go for the magic. You have to surrender to what you're doing, and if you go for that note, then people will get it. And if you miss it, well, hey, you miss it. You have another go the next night.
Yeah. There's another show. Yeah. Zoe, what do you think, darling?
Well, I sure started out in a band where I sang with the best singers when I first started, and Lord knows I was horrendous. But they were great, and they just supported me and helped me. But even not long ago, I remember I supported a band, my record company guys here. Hey, I won't point, so I'll just my elbow. But I supported a big band from America because they needed a girl singer last minute, and I learnt the song the night before, and I sang on, I think it was Sunrise or something in the morning, and I was packing my DAX because it's really scary as it is, and you've got to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get your voice warmed up, hair and makeup, and I didn't really even know the song still because I only got told the night before. And I remember the next day after I sang it, I got a tweet going, Zoe killed that song, I wish she was dead. Awesome. So I read that one tweet, and then I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I got this tweet. He goes, I don't think you're going to really be happy with the performance. And then I had to go because we had to go somewhere else and go and do it again. Awesome. So you could just imagine I was filled with confidence for the next one. But it turned out my dad said that because he said I didn't move my feet much and I like to dance heaps more in songs. And that person was just a horrible, angry human being behind their computer that thinks they can just shoot off stuff like that. And I say, drop off. You get up there and do it because it's damn scary. And I just give it the best that I've got. And I had heaps of fun. And then when I watched it back, I got sent the link, not pointing again. I got sent the link and I was like, hey, I was pretty damn all right if I had to say myself. Like, I wouldn't say awesome because I was a bit scared. But no one would really know. But that's what I think. Everyone's just happy to spit at you and say all these things behind computers. But you get up there and do it. And if you can't, then shut your guts.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah, please, Jackie.
I think also as an artist, you've got to stop seeking approval and looking for that criticism. Like,
I want my dad's approval.
No,
I love him.
No, he's senile now.
He's not.
He's not senile. I'm just saying I'm sure you're wonderful.
I'm getting the best inheritance.
I know I'm being very sweet. But what I'm saying is don't actively, for the musicians and artists here, don't actively look for approval or don't read reviews, don't invite reviewers to come and see your shows, don't Google yourself. I mean, it's so immediate, it's so readily available. It's like, and of course everyone is a critic now. Like everyone has a blog, everyone has a tweet account, everyone has, is that what you call them? Tweet accounts, I'm not sure. And everyone has like a Facebook, and everyone thinks they're the expert. I mean, a lot of these music papers are kind of, I guess, dying out a bit because general public are now becoming the music aficionados. So another thing I want to say is please come to my show at the Sydney Comedy Store, December 21st. Look at the enthusiasm in that woman's face. She's so going to be there. December 21st.
Is that your friend?
No, she's just a new friend. Yes.
And Sveta, how do you deal with criticism in your work?
Yeah, I've been listening to everyone, and I've got a slightly different point of view because I think when you start out, you believe that thing, follow your dream. And I think the commercial reality of that saying is a real challenge because I don't know whether it's because we're women or queer women or it's just the industry is changing and there's less money out there, but we're earning, like in our industry, 2, 3, 4 times less than we were 5 years ago. And we're getting older and we might be at the top of our game, but we're actually going backwards in our wages. So I now accept gigs so that I can pay my rent, so that I can continue to be a DJ. And sometimes people will come up to me and go, I can't believe you're playing that music. But the mainstream wants to hear mainstream music because that's all they're exposed to, the same 20 songs over and over again. So they want to hire me as a name, but they want to hire me to play the music that they want to hear. So in order for me to stay solvent and be a DJ and follow my passion, I have to sometimes play gigs where I'm not taking anyone on any kind of special journey at all.
That's what I wonder because in my agency there's lots of Well, hey everyone. Little kid DJs, let's just say this in a nice way, but they will play the same music that say you would play, but you know how to mix, you know how to do everything. And even as a singer, I now take my music as pre-mixed because I can't trust a DJ when I go to a gig, not in a horrible way. Hey, everybody who's learning, power to you. But I just think...
And they have an agent, and I don't.
But I've even had people sit under the desk and press play for the people who are playing my pre-mixed backing track CD so I can sing.
I've had to show some of these DJs how to use a mixer when they've come and when I've opened for them.
Same, and I don't DJ. I don't even know how to DJ, and I'm showing them how to fix the levels, and I'm thinking
that's the reality.
They're getting paid, but this is so frustrating because I see that.
That's the reality.
But they will pay, say, a young kid in Melbourne $75 to play for 3 hours to play the same thing, or drink cards that their friends get as well. But it just frustrates me, and then they expect the same.
So it's hard copying that criticism because if they want you to stay in the game, they're not, there's no arts foundation that paying your rent.
And the older you get,
but you
the
can
older
hear
you get.
It when you're a patron. I think you can.
Oh,
definitely.
Absolutely. But the thing is, the kids now are growing up with the new DJs who don't know what they're doing, so
the
they
older
don't know
you
any
get, the
different.
harder it is too.
Yeah.
It's really hard. The older you get, it's a youth and beauty industry, and the
absolutely.
older you get, the harder it is. And in any other country but Australia, older talent is revered, and in Australia, it's just whatever, whatever.
Really? I mean, is that true? I mean, is Australia the only country where there's a cutoff age?
If I doing the career that I have had in Australia, if I had had that in America, I wouldn't be paying rent in Marrickville. I'd own the block. You know what I mean? It's just a different thing.
I do think it's a youth culture. I mean, the fact that they're looking
absolutely.
for the new Justin Bieber because Justin Bieber's becoming too old is an indication that it's a youth culture. When people are 24 and are starting to feel old, or that maybe they've missed their moment, that's kind of sad. And I don't think that's just Australia. I think it's a push in the Western world.
But I also think the artist has a sense of responsibility too, that we don't have to... I know that, I totally accept 100% that is the reality, but I also think that we can make a choice not to buy into that. And we can defy that, and we can create... I mean, for all the pros and cons of the internet, it does empower us. It does empower us because we can generate our own material very cheaply with iPhone or whatever, and we can put our music up there, we can put our sketch comedy up there, we can put our stand-up up there, and we can build our own audiences. For all the illegal downloads...
No, but this is the irony. I have a SoundCloud, and I only put my own music and musical journeys up there, and they're incredibly popular. Yet I almost, these days, never get hired, other than when it's Mardi Gras time or there's these big gatherings that happen in festivals.
That was the same for me though, but I never got heard before. You guys, thank you, all played my music, and that's what nobody will play Free Falling for 6 months on the radio. My manager fought so hard, and it's only because all you guys DJ'd and played it in the clubs that it made its traction in the club world on the ARIA charts, and then finally it takes them to realise that, and then my manager just kept pushing with, say, the Hot 30 on what's your... Mine in Melbourne's Fox FM, but I don't know what it is here. Today FM!
That one.
And so he fought them so hard, but 6 months after that happened, that it takes that long. But that's what it is in Australia for Australian artists. You have to fight to get there, but I think if the song's worth it, you can get there in the end. But it is a fight. But so everybody just... buy it. $1.69 on iTunes. What does it hurt?
Yeah, and it's also I know I'm the MC, not the panelist, but it is a group effort, and it's the consumer and the artist, and it's actually not just iTunes. There are numerous platforms. Okay, because I have certain issues with iTunes, but it's not. It's just that I just think it's important that there are numerous platforms for music, because if it's only one platform, then that one platform has all the control. And so it's really important to go out and most definitely not to download, because I can speak myself as a label owner. When I put out my first CD, I made a lot of money. It gave me money to develop my website for my label, everything like that. By my third album, I invested a large amount of money and I lost everything because within 24 hours of me releasing my CD, it was online and everyone was downloading it. So next time you do, go to a torrent or you do think, hey, I'm not really affecting anybody, have a really good think about it because maybe you are. It's kind of important.
I just think it's like you're taking food from the pantry. You're going to your food. They're going to your cupboard and taking food from your pantry. That's what I say to my friends.
But yeah, I know. But if you want to, I'll set a place on my table for you.
I'll give you food.
Don't worry about
I will
that.
say something on the upshot of that though is my SoundCloud when I do a mix gives me a voice, an artistic expression, and I include my own remixes in those mixes. That I get less and less out there in clubland, and it does make me happy, if I can get my story, in whatever style it is, out there and people listen to it, then if they won't leave their house or go to the disco or whatever else, like I get lots of comments saying this got me through my day and I listened to this when I was working out, or this, actually like someone listened to one of my mixes that I made after a very emotional period that I've been going through this year, and they're in Perth and they actually called me and said, are you going through something? We're worried about you. So it can be like a really powerful expression, and it's great that it's out there and you can put it up there, simple as an upload.
So Shauna is going to, we're not completely done, right? But Shauna is going to do our last performance for the evening. Shauna, you are closing with One Moment in Time. Yes. I'd like to ask you why.
Closing?
To start with. No, I'm not closing. It's not closing, but she's doing our closing performance.
Steph asked me what one song would sum up what the power of music is to you. And this song is being a singer or an actor, a musician, is all about being in the present moment. You have to stay in the present moment at all times. If you fuck up, you can't even think about it because you're in this one moment in time. And it's all about being in that moment and being connected with your source, and that's why I chose this song.
Please welcome Shauna Jensen to the stage.
I'd like to dedicate this song to, just give me a minute. I'd like to dedicate this song to Diana McCaskill, who was my partner for a year, and she was tragically killed last week. And it's been a fucking hell week. So I'd like to dedicate this song, but first I would like you all to raise your glasses to Diana because she loved being a big fat dyke in Sydney, although she wasn't fat, but she was a dyke in Sydney. So raise your glasses to Diana.
Happy birthday, Amanda.
My little white tiger.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Faye.
Each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm on Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Please thank Shauna Jensen. Please thank your second panel. Sorry, DJ Sveta, Jackie Loeb, Zoe Badwi, Gayle Austin, and Shauna Jensen.
Thank Kate Monroe.
Wow. I'd like to thank IVF, who's our new presenting partner. Amazing. Woo! Okay. I'd like to, on the behalf of Women Say Something, thank Mardi Gras, Slide, our crew, Janine, Vanessa, Belle, Michelle, Epi, Marie, Iz, and Steph. I'd like to thank, very big thank you to the musical legend and who made all that sound absolutely amazing, Faye Reed. Put your hands together. Our next Women Say Something is February 28th at Sydney Town Hall, and the tickets are going on sale tomorrow. You do not want to miss the event for Women Say Something coming this Mardi Gras season, I guarantee.
Do you know the
it.
other thing going on sale tomorrow?
Well, who the fuck is that?
It's
you.
Do you know what the other thing you can buy tickets for tomorrow is the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras party, which goes on sale tomorrow.
That one
and I can exclusively announce today that Kate Monroe will be DJing.
What?
As will I.
I got a job. Awesome. I'm gonna get more than drink tickets too. Watch that.
Tickets.
Yeah, so support your community. Please come and see us at Women Say Something.
The party funds the parade.
I don't know what you're saying, Steph. I'm trying to read. I don't have my glasses on. Oh, Liz. Sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you very, very much. I couldn't read her. Wow. I felt like I had totally emceed fairly well. Oh, well. Anyways, make sure you check our Facebook tomorrow for the Women Film Something competition. Because it's really great when we get people from the community getting into it. And we can't get it off the ground without you. Stay around for a drink, chat with our panelists. Thank you so much for coming. And good night. Have a happy weekend. Have a safe Christmas and a great New Year. Women Say Something, thanks you very much. Good night.
I thought it was fabulous. I enjoyed it so much. I'm so glad I came.
Absolutely loved it. I'm a big fan. I come to all the Women Say Something. Particularly love the second act. Jackie Loeb, Zoe Badwi and Shauna Jensen. Just four of my favourite performers in the whole world. To have them all here in the one room, on the one couch, terrific. It was just terrific, yeah. The theme being the power of music, I think that having done that performance that I dedicated to Diana, it demonstrated absolutely, without a doubt, the power of music.
Women say something.